Manchester with Will
and Hayden.
Good morning, Facebook and YouTube. I've got some notes with me today. Manchester's not my forte, as you all know Crewe is. So I have some fun facts for you again about Manchester Piccadilly. It opened on the 8th of May 1842. It was known as Store Street. This went on to 1847 when it was renamed London Road, as many of the older generation of train spotters now will know it as. It was part of the Manchester and Birmingham Railway initially, then it moved over to the Great Central Railway. And then it moved over to Manchester Piccadilly after its refurbishment on the 12th of September 1960 it reopened. In the 1970s, the Pickwick Tunnel was mooted by the government, which was to build an underground passageway between Manchester Piccadilly and Manchester Victoria to link up the services. That was eventually scrapped in the early 90s, and now the Ordsall Cord is being proposed by Network Rail. The government accepted their idea, and now they hopefully should have it ready for December 2016 timetable. There are a few other things that might interest you here. The train shed roof is 105 metres long. It spans between platforms 1 and 12. It's Grade 2 listed, so it can only be refurbed, it can't be demolished or removed. The Manchester Metrolink downstairs was opened in 1992, serving places like Bury, across to St Werburgh's Road, Media City, all across, and they're currently extending it to other places like Oldham and further across to the football stadium for Manchester, both Manchester City and Manchester United. The Northern Hub project, which is what I mentioned earlier, was the Ordsall Cord, was accepted by the government. The refurbishment for Manchester Vic hopefully means that you can run direct services from Leeds to Liverpool via Victoria and then through here and then across to Liverpool. They're also going to be putting 2 new platforms in, platforms 15 and 16, which will be in service by December 2018 timetable.
Okay, so Manchester Piccadilly, your routes out of the station, a bit of a guide to that. As you can see, we've got a whole 14 platforms, 1 out of 14. 13 and 14 be your through platforms, everything else is dead end. Variety of services leave here. You've got your sort of regional services, you've got Hadfield, which is the stub of the old Woodhead line, and Glossop. Your local services Sheffield, and your sort of Transpennine and East Midland services Sheffield. They tend to leave from sort of platforms 1 to 4 in general. The platforms in between, you generally find they are more for your Pendolino, so your cross-country services as well, so your voyages to Bournemouth, Weston-super-Mare, places in Devon and Cornwall in summer, also your Pendos through to London, whether that's either via Stoke or via Crewe. Okay, so moving on to platform 8, 9, 10, 11. You've got generally local services of any type can go into there, your services to the airport, your Transpennine services through Huddersfield out into York, into Newcastle, Middlesbrough. There's also Cleethorpes as well. And you also find going back to platforms 1 and 2, that's where your Hull services go for, your Transpennine services to Hull. Platforms 11 and 12 seem to me to almost be exclusively for local services through Stockport into Buxton, over the hills basically. Your through platforms 13 and 14, your through services generally airport services further north, so you've got airports to Byron-Furness, Windermere, Preston and Blackpool North, and you've also got your Arriva services down to Llandudno and Holyhead go through there as well. And obviously all your freight, so all your freight liners from Trafford Park outward to anywhere really. Okay, so also through platforms 13 and 14 you've got your Leeds to Liverpool services as well, and that's pretty much about it for those services there really.
Right, I'm going to move on to talk about Mayfield, which is behind me. This is one of the oldest stations which is now disused. It was opened in 8th of August 1910. It was part of the London and North West Railway at the time. It was built to handle the increase of trains following the opening of the Style Line in 1909. Unfortunately, during World War II, it was bombed by a parachute mine and it was out of service for quite a number of years. However, in the 1950s, the only train to use the station was the Pines Express, which came from Bournemouth West. It arrived here at 1705. It's the only train during the 50s. It was closed 28th of August 1960 after Manchester Piccadilly received, well, when London Road was renamed to Piccadilly, it then received its overhaul. It was used as a parcels depot from 6th of July 1960 until 1986 when they closed it in favour of road haulage. Right, those units have gone by. The Royal Mail constructed a sorting office, which is now the Network Rail Square 1 centre, which is over there to the left. The conveyor belt went over the station, the mouth of the station, from Mayfield over to where the Royal Mail sorting office used to be. Again, as I say, it closed in 1986, Parcel Forth was in favour of road haulage at the time. The tracks were lifted in 1989, and the conveyor, which went over across the mouth of the station, was removed in 2003. It is now owned by BRB Residuary, who's just a holding company at the moment. There was an arson attack here in 2005, which means the station is now beyond use. The first level inside, it's built on 2 or 3 levels. The first one inside has near enough collapsed completely, so it is beyond repair. There was a few ideas mooted by different people. National Express wanted to turn it into a coach station at one point for the buses to get people into Piccadilly quicker, get people out of Piccadilly quicker. It was also mooted that they were going to rebuild the station in 2002 after a report damning Manchester Piccadilly being Apologies, interrupted by an infernal voyager there. The last thing I want to say is that Labour government did propose that they would turn it into offices in 2009. That is still undergoing scrutiny through the government, current government. But it does seem more and more likely that they will demolish and rebuild a brand new set of offices for the, what they call, civil servants.
The signal box that currently operates Piccadilly and pretty much the whole surrounding area, the actual signalling centre, is in the tower block just behind over there. It's part of Network Rail's actual offices, so all their staff are in there as well as the signalling centres. What you can see just to my right as well is a concrete base. That concrete base was previously the first of the electronic signal boxes, if you will. It looked like a sort of beige coloured prefab. You wouldn't even have known it was a signal box at the time. And during the sort of 50s back that, the days of mechanical signalling, the signal box was at the end of here on actually suspended on a gantry. No trace of the gantry remains, but behind the wheel is the actual concrete base with 2 steel posts that you can actually see where the gantry actually came out from. Okay, so we've now moved on to Victoria, or the shell of what was Victoria anyway. You can see the route map from the old L&Y, Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. A few routes on there that have gone since that map. Horwich, for example, Cole to Skipton. Moving on to the actual platforms themselves. A lot less platforms than there used to be. I can't remember exactly how many there was, but there's now 6 plus the Met. If you look upwards, you can see the blue netting across the top of the framework of the station building. The glass is still a bit loose from the IRA bomb from the early 90s, so they generally keep the glass in this netting in place to stop any loose bits of glass falling on people. Platforms 1 and 2, therefore your local services onward to Castleton, Rochdale and out into Yorkshire. And pretty much as of platforms 1 to 4, it's all still local services, there's no intercity stuff through here. Generally you'll get your services here through to Wigan, Kirkby, Bolton, Salford, also onward, upward to Rochdale, Hebden Bridge. Upstairs you've got the MEN Arena. What was the station roof has been removed from the main platforms and been replaced by the MEN. which has bands, conferences, all sorts to it, and that is pretty much Victoria.
So that is it for me at Piccadilly. I will hashtag this together and show my ass. Right, yep, done.
I was going to get the rest of Mayfield at the end and then you show my ass.
Manchester! With me and Hayden!
Yeah. I think that noise is more high pitched than that one. Froth! Fuck off!
Say no. It's Captain Cannon saying, "Welcome aboard this I Am a Virgin service to London Euston."
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
You said it.
You did. What did you say, Hayden? Hayden likes the lady.
Not that one. Christ almighty.
Oh, that's to be my mother.